Okay, so here we have a model with this really annoying triangle in the middle for some reason. Is it? Okay. How do I zoom out? Well, that's annoying. All right, well, that's not going to work very well. We'll see. So here's what we have. We have a thesis statement. In 12 Angry Men, Juror 11's appeals to reason and ethos highlight his principal calls for jurors to participate in the democratic judicial process fairly and civilly. Again, as we've determined, it's a pretty good thesis statement. Why is it a good thesis statement? It has all the components to be effective. Namely, it's got the subject, which is the name of the text. It's got a really specific topic. In this case, it's, so what is the rhetoric exactly that you're going to be discussing? In this case, Juror 11's appeals to ethos and to reason. And then, maybe most importantly, it has an effective claim with all this language. And look at all this language here. Principled, democratic, judicial process, fairly civilly. So why does this juror use these appeals? That's what rhetorical analysis is. I've got to see an answer to that question in your claim. So why does juror 11 use these appeals? Well, he uses them because he's constantly just trying to like stress to the jurors, hey, you got to be principled here in this conversation. You know, you've got to participate in this democratic situation here fairly and civilly. He's constantly doing that. Okay. Here's a topic sentence. And if you looked at the topic sentence PDF slides yesterday or watched that tutorial, I'll explain what you're seeing here. In Act 1, Juror 11's appeals to ethos underscore his petitions for jurors to deliberate with a sense of justice and to honor the democratic process. Okay? Topic sentence. The first thing that it has to do is signal. How am I organizing? How have I decided to arrange my examples for you in my analysis? That canon of rhetoric, right? Arrangement. You have to make a conscious decision for how you're going to lay out all this stuff out. What have I chosen? What method have I chosen? Well, a logos-driven appeal, essentially, chronology. Act 1. My topic sentence signals to you, this is how I've decided to arrange my examples for you in my essay. I'm going to move through them in chronological order. My first paragraph, I am solely going to present to you examples from Act 1. And then in Act 2, in my second paragraph, I will present examples to you there. I will have 2 body paragraphs in my rhetorical analysis. Okay? Does that make sense? And I signal it clearly. This is how I've grouped my examples or arranged them for you. So the other important part of a topic sentence is you have to also use language that deliberately connects back. This is the first step to achieving coherence, which is on those slides that you just imported and in the tutorial that I walked you through. So what language do I have to be sure to connect back to in the topic sentence? For a starburst, point a word out that I constantly have to connect back to. Javier, I constantly have to connect back to democratic. Lane. Fairly. Oh, I'm sorry. What's connecting back to fairly in the topic sentence? And actually, I'm asking multiple questions here, so Lane's right. What am I connecting back to in the thesis statement from the topic sentence, and what words from the topic sentence, therefore, do I have to constantly connect back to when I start paragraphing, right? So justice and fairly, democratic, obviously, democratic. What else? What other words do you see that connect back to the thesis statement and that thus I need to connect back to when I start paragraphing? Ethos, very good. What else? That's pretty much it. Oh, go ahead, Will. Yeah, you got to honor the process, you know, his calls, his petitions, okay? I'm going to be constantly connecting back to those words when I paragraph, constantly. That's what coherence is, okay? So here's the example. Oh, I lost the page number. that this is on. I forgot to cite it. Does anybody want to work on trying to track that down for me? Anybody know where that is? Let's see. This is all being recorded right now. Because I'm going to post what you're seeing me mark up here, and especially what I'm about to type out on Canvas, hopefully, so you can go back and look at it and model it. Oh, yeah, you have a weird book. Secret ballot. Where is it? Anyway, okay, well, just give me your page number. 27. I'll just use that, okay? So remember citation 26. Oh, cool. Thanks. All right. So now here, what is my task? My task now, in a sentence of elaboration, I've got to explain this example. I've got to extend the reader's understanding of how the rhetoric functions in Juror 11's argument. Okay? Are you ready? And I've got to constantly connect back to this language. So I'm writing sentences live, so don't judge. Who was it that spoke back to him? Hold on one second. Oh, yeah. When the 10th juror demands to know the juror who shifts his vote, Juror 11 reprimands him with an ethics-based appeal. Specifically, I'm using juror 11 again because I don't want to say he, because that would be an ambiguous pronoun, because then you'd be like, who, juror 10 or juror 11? Specifically, juror 11 stresses his credibility, is honest attempts to, I'm just going to use the word again right now because I can't think of another one, honor the process, the agreed upon process. He also demonstrates his clear motives, to participate in a conversation with the jurors. I can't think of anything better because I want to connect back to democratic. An opinionated conversation with the jurors in order to seek justice. Okay. Let me just talk about what I did here and what I tried to do. This is not perfect. I just wrote these sentences in front of you. Now, but you heard me talking out loud about what I was trying to do. Your first step in rhetorical analysis, step number 1, is, let me use a different color here. Step number 1, apply correctly. You have to apply the rhetoric correctly if you're going to conduct a rhetorical analysis. You don't apply the rhetoric correctly, I mean, everything in a sense is shot. And your analysis will be, for lack of a better word, illogical. The second step then, again, is in your explanation to reinforce function. Or, so why? Why did this juror use these appeals to ethos, where he's really trying to sort of reinforce his own credibility, trying to establish like clear motives, his clear motives for why he's participating in the way that he is. Okay? So, application, then explanation of function. So, all the while you're doing this, being sure that you're using words that constantly connect back to the topic sentence and thus the thesis statement. So if you're not using words to connect back conscientiously to the topic sentence, or if your topic sentence is disconnected from your thesis statement, what makes writing frustrating and fulfilling is when you get it right, it's fulfilling. You see the sense connected. When you don't get it right, this terrible domino effect can happen, where before you know it, the reader is asking himself or herself, wait, what are we talking about again? I can't remember. If you force me to have to go back to your topic sentence and be like, wait, what are we talking about again? Oh yeah, Javier said he was going to talk about ethos. Wait, he hasn't even mentioned that in like 3 sentences. That's a problem. You're making me work too hard. Okay? And that's not my job to work hard. It's your job to execute. Your job as the writer is not to simply accept sentences. Whatever you write is doing just fine. Your job as the writer is to make a sentence deliberately, word by word, connecting back. Okay? Again, it's supremely challenging, but it's also terribly fulfilling when you do it right. Okay? So as I was writing, you heard me saying out loud to myself, I want to connect back to the idea of democratic. I'm just going to use this word right now as a placeholder. So if I go through, obviously juror 11 connects back, ethics-based appeal connects back, credibility connects back to ethos, honest connects back to connects back essentially to petitions, and principled from the thesis statement. Honor connects back to honor. Agreed upon process connects back somewhat to democratic. And you hear me saying somewhat, I could probably go back and shore this up a little bit in terms of like the connection and strengthen it with a particular word or language. He also demonstrates clear motives, connects back to ethos. To participate in opinionated conversation connects back to democratic. Justice connects back to justice. Okay? Like literally, when you're writing, you have a lot of moving parts. Not only are you trying to apply the rhetoric correctly, you're also trying to explain it properly in terms of how it's functioning, and you're trying to be conscious of the words that you're using so that you're connecting back. Okay, so it's super challenging, and it requires some real deliberation on your part, some real like conscientious shaping of sentence. Okay, did you have a question? I saw your hand up earlier. No? Anybody else have a question that I can clarify before I hit stop on here? Anybody? Okay.